Hey guys, it's the Big King here. The Wild Robot made me cry. No, that's not an exaggeration, nor is it a lie. It's true that this movie made me cry. However, it was not from what you initially think. But first, let's give some backstory. The Wild Robot is a movie based off a book of the same name, with this movie being picked up and animated by DreamWorks Animation. And don't any of you dare say that DreamWorks is officially back, because they've simply never left. Their whole thing at this point is release a masterpiece and then some crappy movies right after. It's been their MO for forever now. So, if they make a bad movie here or there, I practically expect it from them. But when they do make movies like The Wild Robot, it feels all worth it. Because my god, animation is killing it recently, with Inside Out 2, Ultraman Rising, and Transformers 1. We're really heading towards a new renaissance of animation, with studios really pushing what is possible with the medium and the storytelling it presents. And The Wild Robot is no different. It's such a visual marvel, just like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish in a lot of ways, but instead of a more Spanish painterly style, it's much more of a children's book sort of look, and it's gorgeous. DreamWorks have somehow managed to outdo themselves again, and I hope that they keep this mentality of improving as they keep going forward. Because everything is so expressive and meaningful. There's a clear soul and passion behind the work in movies like this, something that AI will simply never be able to reach. And yet, despite that, it got done so dirty by Universal, with the movie, just like Transformers 1, being released inconsistently, with the movie coming out onto streaming only a week ago, and only now being released in theatres in the UK 2 days ago. How companies expect this sort of release schedule to work is completely beyond me, in addition to just how blatantly neglectful the executives were to masterpieces just like this. But you're probably wondering since the start of this video, why did this movie make me cry? Well, the answer's different to what you might expect, because this movie didn't make me cry because it was sad. If anything, this movie is incredibly hopeful at a lot of points. And this movie also didn't make me feel any sort of emotional pain either, so why exactly did I cry while watching this? Well, to put it simple, it's because of how beautiful this movie was. Not just the visuals, as after all, many others have been very beautiful to look at, just like the Spider-Verse movies, as an example. But I mean, this movie as a whole is beautiful. The story, the characters, and especially the messages behind this movie, with the most prominent one being, we fear that which we don't understand. Funny enough, this movie, to me, felt exactly like a classic Pixar movie, something similar to WALL-E, Finding Nemo, or even Up, with WALL-E in particular being the best example to what I mean, as just like in WALL-E, this movie's about feeling out of place where you are, and the idea of being more than what society tells you have to be. I think it's able to do this because the themes are incredibly personal, because a lot of what happens in this movie is very unordinary and a bit strange, but it's those familiar and relatable themes and emotions is what makes this story and world feel so believable. As Ross, the wild robot herself, being a good canvas for the audiences to paint themselves onto, to sympathize with her. Just like with WALL-E in a lot of ways, being very creative but leaving a few things blank so that the audience, no matter who you are or where you are, you can see yourself in Ross. And surprisingly, it's able to fit all these ideas and themes in a short time. It's short, but doesn't feel rushed. It's the perfect length, as it feels like it says everything it wanted to say, while still leaving the door open for much more stuff to come in the future. And good thing too, because as it stands right now, it's been confirmed that this movie is getting a sequel, which I cannot wait to see, because honestly, we need more movies just like this again. Movies that challenge the creativity and that can tackle very personal things, especially for kids. I remember growing up as a kid myself, and learning a lot about things like life and emotions and about the world I live in through movies just like this. With myself being very attached to movies like The Lion King, Shrek, and How to Train Your Dragon. With the second movie to How to Train Your Dragon being my favourite animated movie of all time, and my second favourite movie of all time. So I'm very happy with this movie and how it was made. I hope kids will have a chance to learn and grow up with movies just like The Wild Robot. Because just because it's a kids movie doesn't mean it has to be a bad movie. I don't know where this notion came from that just because something is a kids movie it automatically makes it a bad movie. I think a lot of people underestimate just how much kids understand about messages and ideas that are presented in movies like this, and that's probably why they aren't making movies like this anymore. Which is a massive shame, because very few movies have ever made me legitimately cry, let alone a movie that made me cry because it was so heartwarming and genuinely caring for what it had to say and how beautifully it wanted to say it. So yeah, you should definitely watch this movie any way you can, because I feel you'd be missing out massively and doing yourself a big disservice if you're not watching what DreamWorks created right here. I loved this movie, and I feel you will too. So, ultimately, this movie gets a 10 out of 10. My first ever 10 out of 10 scoring on this channel. I cannot think of any issues with this movie. There are some nitpicks, but there aren't any real issues with this movie. No matter how hard I try to look, this movie is really good all around. And so that's why I feel it's the most deserving movie out of everything I've seen so far to get a 10 out of 10. But what do you guys think? Did you enjoy this movie? And if so, why? Or could you not get into it like I could? Let me know in the comments. I read all of your guys' comments, and I think it'd be very interesting to talk about this movie, because this movie deserves as much attention as possible. I need to see more movies just like this, man, so let's talk about it. Also, don't forget, if you want more videos just like this, where I look at movies and shows that you might like, then subscribe, because subscribing not only tells me you want more videos just like this, but it also supports me to reach my dream goal of 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And with your help, we can definitely reach that. So, like the video, subscribe, and with that, it's been the Pig King here, and I will see you all next time.